few minutes while your eyes are still closed. So just noticing what's going on, allowing that feeling or that thought just to be there with you while you close your eyes and sink a little more deeply into your chair. I'm going to ring a bell with my Tibetan singing bowl. And I would love for you to simply listen until you no longer hear the sound of the bell. Now I want to ask you, were you able to do anything else at the same time as focusing on that bell? The answer is probably not, because I had directed your attention to something specific. Now, while we're still here in this quiet, restful place, I'm going to lead you through a short body scan. Taking a few deep breaths here at the top. Expanding your ribcage and your stomach and allowing the breath to just fall. Allowing your stomach to behave just like a balloon, which expands with air and then softens as you exhale. Now we'll start at the top of our head. And what I would like you to do is just picture a gentle light beam. It can be any color you wish. And this light beam is going to begin to pass from the top of our heads slowly down as I guide it by naming each part of our body. If you wish, as this light beam is passing through each area of our body, you can think about an intention that you wish to bring about within your system. It may be a wish for calm, patience, or health. So just take a moment to think about what that might be. Now our light beam is at the top of our head, slowly passing through our skull, our brain, over our brow. And as it passes here, just relaxing our muscles. Noticing if our eyes are shut tight, relaxing them. As it passes over the bridge of our nose, our cheekbones, tops of our ears, our mouth. Notice what your mouth is doing. Can you relax your jaw? Now we're at our chin, our neck, our shoulders. See if you can soften your shoulders. Notice if they've been clenched. And now bringing that laser beam down our chest, down our arms. And as you encounter a blockage or a discomfort, see if you can just bring some extra breath to that area. as the soft laser beam moves through that part of your body. Now it's on our torso. Use your own inner guide to guide that laser through your organs, gently moving any discomfort out of the way as it continues down your midsection, your thighs, remembering your intention if you had one at the beginning. Slowly moving it over your knees, your shins, your calves, your ankles, tops of your feet, your heels, each toe, and the soles of your feet. Just noticing how this feels, continuing to stay grounded and present to my voice, to what we are doing here with intentionality. And we're going to take one more deep breath here, and then gently move our fingers and toes to remind ourselves where we are, not quite yet drifting off to sleep, folks, although we may feel that way. And as we move our body back, reminding ourselves, here we are together in this program. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And just to wake up your system, whether your videos are on or off, scan the area around you with your eyes and with your head. Just noticing the shapes, the objects, the colors which are around you, and land on something pleasant as your eyes are fixed on that object. Just take in the beat of that object. Just let it land. Let's do that one more time. Letting your eyes just look around, up, side, even maybe behind you. Find something pleasant to land on. Take it in, let it land, and returning to one another here on the screen. So now I want you to take a moment to rate what your level of nerves or stress is right now. Just noticing whether that number has shifted. So if I could just get, I know most of you have your videos off, but there are moments when I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. So if you wouldn't mind turning your videos on for a moment. Raise your hands, please, if that number had lowered from the beginning of the workshop to now. Yay, success. All right, my work here is done. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just joking. That was just a little sampling, but I hope that you just had a little flavor of one thing that, without knowing anything else about mindfulness, you are already able to do for yourself, or for your children, or for the people you care for in your life. A body scan. This is something that can take either 5 minutes or 20 minutes, and it is a fabulous way to put yourself to sleep at night. I smile because I'm imagining, I know whenever I run this, that a lot of people then let me know that, it took a little time, it took a little attention, and effort to not doze off. So you can see how a simple suggestion and guiding your mind toward doing something intentional can already calm the body down. So that was my just a little opener and a sample for you of a tool which I already want to offer up to you. So I want to just take a moment to tell you a little bit about who I am. I know San already introduced me, and that's true. Those are some of my passions. I am a teacher, I'm a spiritual leader, I'm a singer, I'm a meditator, and my passion is truly to teach people how to connect with their own inner compass and the source, which is really in all of us, that connecting force, that connecting source. And I find, and I will teach you in this workshop, that really the only way to do this is to notice the distractions in our day, of which you surely know there are a plethora, and they continue to arrive in our midst, sadly. And every moment is really a choice for us to decide whether we wish to be distracted in this moment or to redirect our attention to something perhaps more important. Here in this case, what we did is we directed our attention toward areas of our body. That was it. And so I hope that the rest of this workshop will provide you many other tools in which to direct your attention for the better. And I will soon explain how and why doing so eventually leads to more confidence, lower stress levels, and more spaciousness within ourselves. It can slow us down so that we can really be present to what is happening in our lives moment to moment, to be present to the people we are interacting with and the work that we may be doing in the world. And eventually toward more love, more empathy for ourselves and anyone that we work with or interact with. All right, so I'm going to share my screen once again. So the big question is, what is mindfulness, right? It is this, this word that we hear all the time, and it can be a bit confusing because the word mind is in it, but very often we are actually directing our attention to our body. So essentially what this is consciously bringing awareness to our here and now experience with openness, interest, and receptiveness. So we can say, for instance, just as when we're using our computer, we use a cursor to direct our attention on the screen. This is what we are doing with our mind, and this is why the word mind is in it. Of course, we need to use our brain, but when we talk about the brain, it can be a bit of a misnomer because our brain is very, very busy and does a lot of analyzing and a lot of assessing. And we actually want to move away from that, from the kind of intellectual part of our brain and bring it back to something actually quite basic, with which overrides a lot of what we have learned, which has brought us where we are today, but to some degree can be a real hindrance. And when we let our brains work on autopilot, we can easily get lost. When we slow down, when we guide our attention, when we notice our thoughts, we can immediately calm ourselves down, as you were able to just witness with our opening exercise. So here's what I had just led you through. just so you have some of these words if you want to take a few notes or wonder how the magic just happened. I'm going to walk you through some of these steps so that this is something that you can do all the time. It's important to just sit comfortably with few distractions. And essentially, when I do this with children, I have them imagine, it can be a light source. Young kids, I've explored this in many different ways. So it doesn't have to be a light and it doesn't have to be a laser. I've done it with, I know many of you are parents out here today. So you know your children and you can experiment with this, and you can even have them help you create this exercise. By asking them to choose their favorite color, and it can even be more than one color, and they can create this sort of energy, or my kids like to use it to imagine it like a marshmallowy, slimy, cozy thing. And this can change the more you do it, and you can sort of figure out together what provides your child or children with the most comfort, right? Learning to speak their language, learning to design this together, using that, let's say, marshmallowy, cozy, warm slime to slowly coat them from head to toe, but obviously not suffocating them, right? Just having kind of either a light or a sleeping bag that's cozy, that's warm, that protects them, that heals them. And as I said, you can create this according to whatever your child or your children's needs are in that moment. It can remove all fears. It can instead, as it travels from head to toe, ease all pains. So wherever there is discomfort, when I do this with adults or a more senior community who may experience some more aches and pains in our bodies, you can invite that as you're scanning through wherever the discomforts are, to just invite more breath and more attention and more space. So it's important in mindfulness and in this work in general, never to ignore something that is uncomfortable. Oftentimes people think that, in meditation, what we are doing is trying to make our thoughts go away so that we can just be here in this present moment. And that's not true. Instead, what we want to do is be here with everything. And where there is discomfort, where there is pain, where there is fear, approach it like a new friend, or approach it like a child, with attention, with empathy, just noticing it all and allowing it to be just as it is, even though we may wish for it to disappear. So point number 4, if thoughts arise to distract you while you're doing the body scan, gently just encouraging your attention back to the body. As you scan the body, inviting any intention that you may wish for, as we had done, health or ease or patience. I want to just encourage you, I'm realizing that I'm obviously going to be talking a lot, to just jot down any questions that you might have, because I will certainly allow for time at the end to have a question and answer period. And at some point toward the end, when I go through some more exercises, I am going to be putting you in breakout rooms to have a little discussion in smaller groups. So just an alert that it's not going to just be me talking at you the whole time. How does mindfulness work? What is this magic that we're doing together? Well, here's what happens. We are creating a little bit of space in between what is normally a stimulus and a reaction, right? This is how our nervous system is built. This is how our brains have been constructed from the beginning of time. Right? Someone steps on us, we yell, we call out, we might call them a name. But the more we can practice mindfulness, the more we can slow down and invite some intentionality and attention. We then can choose how to respond. We are no longer functioning on autopilot. It's no longer a reaction. It ends up being thoughtful. And this is what we want to be doing. We want to encourage ourselves, either by modeling to the people who we share community with or family with, or if we are educators or parents, teaching our children how to do that so that their responses can be more connective, more calculative, and less reactive. So here's what we're really doing. Without a giant anatomy lesson here, I'm not an expert on the brain. I just know enough about it to teach about mindfulness and understand how that works. So regular mindfulness practice changes the actual structure of the brain. As I said earlier, we disrupt the flow so that we're no longer on autopilot. And this is one of the few areas of our bodies which have not yet evolved from the time we were hunters and gatherers. Many of you may know this. And our brains actually don't know the difference between whether we are in real threat of being chased by a hungry tiger or whether we are simply stressed for an exam. It acts the same way and it goes into panic mode. So if we don't disrupt the brain's natural mechanism, it will always go into flight, fight, or freeze. Mindfulness is one important way that we can shortcut our brains and reprogram it not to be in stress. So now knowing this, you can just imagine the benefits of having this skill set. So I want to take some time to talk about the kids. As I know that many of us are here tonight are parents or educators. So the next area of my presentation is going to display a whole variety of mindful skills and techniques that you can try with your kids. Here is why. What does practicing mindfulness actually foster? Increased focus, a sense of calm, self-awareness, right? When we're guiding our mind, just sensing what is going on in our body, temperature, chills, what is happening here? In fact, when we can tune into what is happening in our body and what we are feeling, we actually sense things faster than the emotion arises. So when we can tune in and become these master trackers of what is happening in our bodies, we can actually learn to anticipate an emotion. Of course, this takes a lot of attention and practice, but it is absolutely possible, which eventually can help improve our self-control, our problem-solving skills, our empathy and understanding of others, our social skills. It can build up resilience. It can improve our sleep, and it can decrease symptoms of anxiety and depression. So for those of us who work one-on-one with kids or have children of our own, I just want to make a note here that it's really important to take note of the fact that we never really know what may be going on for these kids at home. And mindfulness is not something that can be forced onto anyone. It doesn't work that way. for it to work, we need our brains to cooperate. We need to be calm. We need to be trusting of the person who is guiding us. And if you are an educator, it's really important to start slow and always be gentle and patient. This is not something that can be rushed. One of my meditation teachers once said to me that meditating or practicing mindfulness, which go hand in hand together, is like putting a penny in a jar every day. So you may not notice the benefits right away, but with time, they are there and they grow, and it is well worth the investment. So here are a few things I'm going to walk us through. I'll go through these just quickly here in a brief table of contents, and then we'll go into them in more depth. So if you want to take some notes on the following, these are some exercises that I'm introducing to you to use with kids primarily, but they can also apply to you or yourself or other family members or other adults that you might work with. So this one is, the first one is called doing the shark fin. The second is stop, drop, and breathe. The third is an internal weather report. And then simply, not an actual technique, but simply encouraging and coaching you as parents or teachers to use non-judgmental inquiry. So rather than ask, why did that happen? Why did you talk to your friend that way? Asking what questions? Oh, what happened? How did that make you feel? Children do not really know the whys, just like we don't know the whys. Why do we behave the way we do? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It's not helpful, even though we ourselves might be curious about a motivation. Asking what or how can really encourage empathy. We can be alongside our children for their journey rather than kind of a top-down approach. So the only one here that I don't go into more depth than what's here right now in number one, the shark fin, I'll go over that quickly. So the shark fin exercise, you take your hand, and you encourage children to do this. You place it at your forehead, just like a shark fin. And then you use the 5 S's. So you would sit or stand straight. You would close your eyes, shut eyes. You would just be silent. And you would breathe softly. And you can decide, is this 3 breaths? Is this 5 breaths? You can even count the breaths together. That's a really nice, short technique for calming big emotions in one moment. And as I run through these, you can experiment and try them out and see what works best with your kids or classroom or wherever it is that you may want to apply this. So that's our quick shark fin. Let's talk about stop, drop, and breathe. So this is similar to, we all know, the stop, drop, and roll when, God forbid, we are in a fire. This is what they instruct us to do. So this is a variation on that quick skill that we've all learned from a young age. So here instead we're doing stop, drop, and breathe. So you can do this during a moment of chaos. You can even be silly with this and actually drop on the ground with your child or children. Just stop everything, drop to the ground, and just take a few breaths on the ground. And sometimes that humor can really interrupt a moment of chaos, a moment of a big feeling when your kid or even yourself just don't know what else to do, right? That's what we are trying to do. We're trying to short circuit the brain, not to go into automatic and into this spiral of, but what if this and what if, we just break the pattern right in that moment of chaos. So as I said, this could be used just one-on-one with a child, or if you're a teacher or you have a group, you can do this all together. And you are literally just stopping. You can use a bell, you can have a stop sign, you can find different ways to do this and create this. You can even create a place in your home where all of these techniques that you learn today, and perhaps grow your own toolbox, if you want to go deeper into this work, you create the space in your home where mindful moments can happen when your child or children are having a big feeling and just don't know how to control it, don't know what is coming out of their mouth, don't know why they are crying or why they are screaming. You have a short list of techniques that the kid can do on his own, or you can be there doing it together. Let's look at the internal weather report. So I like to do this with adults as well. So just as the weather changes, feelings change too. And the idea of doing an internal weather report, kids take to this really naturally. Because everyone knows, especially now and in Montreal, the weather is very temporary and can change like that. So it's a great analogy to our own moods and bodies, and also the unpredictable nature of the weather, right? And of our own moods, and what sets us off, and when, and how are we happy, and why, and what is causing this. We don't need to have all the answers, but if we have a skill like this in our back pocket, what we can do, I like to draw out, or have the child draw out just a quick outline of a body. It doesn't have to be their own, just kind of a, one of those very generic outlines of a body. Have some markers handy, whatever it is that you wish to draw with. And just invite the child to use all different colors and just draw or describe in words what is happening, right? Is there a thunderstorm happening in your tummy? Create those bolts of thunder. Perhaps up here everything seems rosy and shiny, right? Here my face might show that I'm having a sunny day, but down here in my heart, I'm actually having a really rainy day. So when you have that outline of a body, the child can really explore what the different weather is. And they might take this in a whole other direction. And your role as the adult is just to roll with this, right? They might just decide to color their head in purple or color one leg in green. Use it as an opportunity for inquiry. Oh, what's going on there? Tell me about your green leg. Not, oh, why is your leg green, but what's happening there? This is beautiful. I love the rainbow of your body, all the different weather that's happening in your, in your left arm. And sometimes it's actually even just a way to bring attention elsewhere, right? I think we've all, as parents, the parents out here today, have seen the magic of redirecting attention. And often that is what mindfulness is, right? Big feelings, I don't know what's happening. Okay, let's just focus, or let's refocus. So that's what an internal weather report can be about. And this final point here just allows for acceptance of whatever is going on in this moment. You can even choose to, check in and do this at the end of a day, at the end of a school day, and perhaps collect the various weather reports and then look back, just like on the weather app, at, oh, look at how the weather has changed this week, right? This could be like a great dinner conversation or weekend conversation, kind of just exploring what has happened this week in your body or in your heart. Oh, all right, I have to just check in here with Roberta. Are we prepped to do this?
Yes, we are.
Okay, wonderful. So this is just giving us all a little break here. I'm going to put you in groups of, is it 4?
Yes.
Okay.
4. Be groups of 4. A couple of groups will have 5. That's okay.
Okay, sure, of course.
Would you prefer 3?
We could do 3.
Okay, sure, I could do that. And are you asking them
Here.
to do those questions in the breakout room?
Yeah, so I'll go over them now. And I think I'll give you, if we're going to be 3, let's say groups of 3, I
Yeah.
guess that makes it about 6 or 7 groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to invite you to turn your cameras on when you're in your smaller groups, and please just start by introducing yourselves. What brought you here? Who are you? Are you a parent? Are you an educator? Is all this making sense to you? What have you learned so far? What will you use that you have learned, and what are you still wanting to know? So this is just an opportunity for you to chat in smaller groups. I'm not going to be watching or listening, so don't worry about, whether this is anything about me as a moderator or whether my information is at all confusing. I just want you to have a chance to share together in smaller groups and just touch base about how relevant this is. So you can choose a specific question that might be jumping out to you right now on the screen. And if your conversation goes, away from any of these questions, that is also totally fine. So I think we'll touch base here again, let's say about 8 or 10 minutes. Is that okay, Roberta? I want to give everyone at least 2 or 3 minutes to talk.
Sure. Yeah. So in 8 minutes, time would be about 8:23. So we're at 8:15 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, or should we say 8:25? Your
I think 8 minutes is okay.
Okay, super.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, like, take a look at the time when you're in your groups, and just allow each of you to talk for about 2 minutes, and we'll reunite here shortly.
Sure. And I'll open the rooms, and then also I'll send you a message into your room when there's about 2 minutes left. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Roberta.
You're welcome. So please just click on the link to go to your room. And if you need help, you can always press that button. Welcome back, everyone. Everybody will be back shortly. I think within the next about 10 seconds. Here they come.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So I hope that was nice and connective. I know I always, when I'm in a large webinar or session. I really enjoy having, even though I might have initial nerves of like, who am I going to be paired with and what am I going to have to say? But the moment I can imagine just seeing all your smiles, I can just imagine that it felt a bit more grounding to just connect and hear what other people might be experiencing. I know I was put in a group and it felt really reassuring to hear what others are experiencing. And thank you for being here. And we're a community there for one another. So without further ado, I have a few more things to share, and then I'm here to take questions. All right, now let's share my screen once again. Here we go. So here's some extra tools to help cope with anxiety. These are two things that I love to use when I was a classroom teacher and when I had implemented the mindfulness program at the school where I taught. Sparkle jar, which you see here. I managed to find a GIF because it's really important to see it active, and a worry jar. So the sparkle jar, this is actually a really fun exercise to do if you are a classroom teacher or a parent. It's really easy to find. You literally have to put, type in sparkle jar or meditation jar into Google, and they'll give you the ingredients because it's not just water and sparkles. And then I like to keep one of these in my classroom. We had one per classroom. So we use this when a child was having a meltdown or really big feelings that they just could not calm down. They would simply come to the teacher, and it would be kept on the teacher's at the teacher's desk, and they were allowed to just take the jar and put it at their own desk. And the idea is simply to turn the jar over and watch as the sparkles, it's sort of like a snow globe, as they start to settle. And it's really similar to what is going on in our own bodies. So it simply mirrors, that almost like the body scan or watching, snowflakes fall. It has an incredibly calming effect on the nervous system. So the other one is creating a worry jar. And this can also, again, these are things that could be Googled. This is just sort of a little bookmark for you to check out. So this you can use either using a little stone. So your child or your students, they can each have a little stone. You can have a whole craft around this. And this represents their worry or their fear. You can go on a little, now that the weather's a bit better, you can go on a little nature walk and collect a stone and have that stone and put into it all of your worry or fear or anxiety, and allow this stone to carry the literal weight of your worry. And then you can either bury the stone, you can go and get a new stone. I mean, there's so many ways in which you can do this. This is similar to many of us may have grown up with a little worry dolls, like the South American little dolls that you would put, and you would tell them your worries and then put them in the little bag, and that's it. And there's something really powerful about this, about sort of letting go of what is weighing on us. And for kids, not for every single child, but because kids have such a wonderful imagination, they can often, whisper their worry into a jar or into the stone and move it along, and it no longer really, sits on them. This is just an exercise for perhaps younger children, those of us who might be early childhood educators. It also works for older children, depends how you model or teach it. So even for adults, it's a sort of creating a safe or happy place. We often hear maybe in a yoga class, like, go to your happy place. So the idea here, and this can also turn into a craft where you can lead a very calming, grounding meditation, or even at the end of a body scan, have your child or children lie down and allow them to explore a happy place in their mind, and guide them through the senses. What do you smell? What do you see? What can you touch? If you are, for instance, on the beach, feeling the sand just running through your fingers, when you can direct them to feel their senses, it is very anchoring and grounding. And then this place, once it's created, they can draw it and they can hang it somewhere. And they have that happy place always accessible to them, either a tangible form or in their minds. And you can just remind them, they might want to name that happy place and then tell you the name of it so that you can remind them to go to that place. And so, and that could be also in that little corner of your home or your classroom. And then these are just some things on YouTube that you can check out. I'm a huge fan of Sesame Street and Jim Henson, so Big Bird's Comfy Cozy Nest, and some of the messaging in that is, you're not alone, I'm here, let me help you put words to feelings, and I care about you, I care about what's happening to you. As many of you may know, if you're at all interested in mindfulness, there are so many amazing apps out there. And this came up in my small group, which is Sitting Still Like a Frog. So the Sitting Still Like a Frog is created for teens, but I know there's one created for younger kids. A simple Google search for this, it's a whole booklet and a whole program that you can use in your classrooms or with your children. I'll highlight Headspace and the Calm app and Insight Timer, which have guided meditations. And these are like Insight Timer, I know for sure is, there's of course a paid version, but there's a free one that has so many guided meditations and music to help fall asleep, specific things that target different age children. So do check that out if you are curious. And now for our closing exercise. I want to just teach you about using the breath as an anchor. So I'm going to invite you once again to just, this won't be as long as our body scan. We'll do this last little exercise and then we'll go into our Q&A period. So I'll invite you to please find a comfortable position. Allow your eyes to close. And just feeling the support of the seat below you, allowing your back to relax. If your feet are on the ground, just noticing the contact point of your feet on the earth. Notice where your hands are, if they're touching each other. Just bringing your attention, right, the cursor of our mind, to our hands touching one another, to the contact point of our hands on our lap, to the contact point of our back on the chair. And now we're going to direct our attention to our noses. As we inhale, see if you can really focus on the air as it enters your nostrils. Notice if it changes temperature as it enters. And notice if you can notice one nostril in particular over the other as the air enters and exits your nose. Now we'll move to our chest. So bringing the cursor of our mind, our attention, to our chest as we breathe. And really just focusing on the sensation of our chest rising and falling like a balloon. Does one breath feel better than the other? Are we preferring an inhale over an exhale? Do we notice perhaps our inhale is hard to expand within our chest? Just bringing all our attention to this place where our lungs are expanding. And now we'll redirect our attention to our stomach. So placing one hand on your belly and just allowing it to rise and fall. Even exaggerating this if you must. Just feeling how your hand follows the rhythm of your belly. You can put your hand back to where it was before. Just taking a moment to check in with yourself. Which one of these anchor breaths was easiest for you to follow? Was it your nose, your chest, or your belly? Maybe they were all the same. But sometimes we have a preference. So gently opening your eyes when you feel comfortable. This was our anchor breath. So this is an easy exercise to do with a class or with kids. And it's an initial exercise to allow each person to feel into where in their body can they most easily connect with their breath. Often for us, it's one of these areas. Once you find your anchor breath, you can always go back there. And it's a really simple way to either just like tune into your breath through one of these areas of our bodies. And here we are, folks, at the end of our session. I want to open this up to questions. I'm going to leave the last slide up. This is just some books and websites that you might want to check out on your own. Oops. So I'll leave that available right here for you. And sorry, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see everyone at the same time.
Would you like me to stop the screen sharing?
Yeah, but I want to leave it up for people in case they want to jot down any of these.
Perfect. If you like, it's up to you. You can let me know if I
Here we
can
go.
send this PowerPoint to people.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I will send that out to you guys, and you can make that available to other people. So if I can invite those of you with your screens off to just turn your videos on for a moment so that we can just end together, see one another's shiny, more relaxed faces. And I want to just open up the floor to any questions anyone might have. you can simply raise your hand either manually, or if you know how to flash the little mini hand, you can do that as well. I see Marguerite.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So my challenge, I think, is I feel very open to this kind of idea of practice, and but I live with a very skeptical partner, and my daughter also is close to turning 18, and so I don't know how easy it would be for them to kind of share in this kind of practice. I think that would in fact help our family dynamic. So that's it. That's my question. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, so this is I've heard this often, right? How do I get my family to buy into this thing that I think is so great, right? And I have to tell you, there isn't an easy answer to this. It's not, you can lead a horse to water, as they say. The best advice I can give you is to do the work yourself. And in my experience, people who love and care about you will see the change, and they will inquire, what are you doing differently? You seem so much lighter. You seem slowed down. You seem to have so much more spaciousness and patience. And so I really invite you, Marguerite, to not push this on anyone. But if it speaks to you, that's beautiful. And start small. If it's meditation that you're curious about or interested in, I would never advise anyone to start with a 30-minute meditation sit, right? You can build up to that, but 3 minutes a day, every morning, makes a huge difference. And as this field has grown in popularity, as we know, it's only been around a few thousand years, but the Western world is now tuning in to the magic. The beauty is that there is so much out there. I can really personally recommend those apps. They are fabulous to start helping you. You can have little reminders in your day of, ding, what are you grateful for, right? Half an hour before lunch, like you can set these little timers, or notice the beautiful things around you, or pay a compliment to someone at your workplace. Just these tiny little things that we could do. Because ultimately, as you can probably see, this world is vast, right? I can lead courses that are 6 weeks long to teach this work. This was really just one little sampling. And in fact, before you all go, I will take other questions, but I have a mini poll for all of you just to gauge interest and if you would like more of this kind of thing. So maybe we can run that while I'm doing the Q&A, Roberta, is that possible? So anyone who wants to continue asking questions can do so, and the rest of you can just take a quick poll before we close.
Sure, I'll open that up, and yeah, keep in mind there are 6 questions, so you'll just need to scroll down. So here we go.
Thanks, Roberta.
You're welcome.
While some of you are answering these questions, this poll, are there any other questions that I can help anyone with? Burning your minds right now? Bhavna.
Yes. So I would want to know, at what age can a child start?
I would say, so I was teaching kids starting at age 5. But that's not to say, you might have a really emotionally mature little 3-year-old who
Okay.
can do some of these exercises, right? A lot of these exercises, like the weather map, that's not, that's something you can do at a very young age. The stop, drop, and breathe. So a lot of these are for any age. And then I would say any kind of formal practice that requires a little more attention. Yeah, there's no right age, but I would say maybe works best kindergarten age.
Right. Thank you.
Okay,
Anyone else? Oh, I'm seeing some things in the chat now.
yeah, we'll keep the poll open just a little longer here. We've got almost all of us have.
I can't see the poll. Could you?
Is your screen open full, Bhavna? Sorry, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah, it is open.
Okay, no worries. There you go.
Thank you.
Well, while everyone's filling out the poll, I just want to thank you once again for carving out the time to attend this workshop. Clearly, this is something that you think is important, or at least and you're interested in learning more about. So I was so happy to be here to facilitate. Oh, Marguerite, do you have another question?
Yeah, just another small one. And I don't really know why I'm asking it, but is it possible that some people are perhaps a little more at ease, or it's just easier for them to get into this than others?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think like anything, right?
Okay.
Some of us are more musical, and some of us have an easier time spelling. Like this is, I think anyone could do it, but there has to certainly be some interest, because it's really about, as I said earlier, learning to kind of short circuit the brain so that we're not on autopilot, right, and not so reactive. But there are a million little exercises that we can do to just be in that place of more empathic response rather than reactivity.
Yeah. It's been very nice. I came into this very, very tired, and I feel kind of like tired but calm.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, yes. All right.
Oh.
So, any questions?
Bhavna is saying she still can't see the poll. Is there
Yeah.
anyone else who can't see the poll? No.
Stephanie.
Stephanie says as well. Stephanie, you can't see it as well. Are you using a laptop? Yeah. Do you have iPad? That might be it for some reason. If you on right now, are you seeing all participants on your screen? Okay. Can you just swipe right or anything? Will that give you anything else? No. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on the iPad. I'm going to close the poll, but I will reopen it again and in a moment. So I'm going to end it right now. Let me see if I can just reopen it again. Oh no.
Is it possible to send it to people via email?
Sure, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Before everyone leaves us tonight, I really would like to thank you, Netta. Thank you for being a source of wisdom and contemplation tonight. It's been so helpful learning to notice emotions and body sensations in a non-judgmental and compassionate light. I came and when you asked that question between 1 and 10, I immediately put 2. I had no idea. Let me say that. So thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for everyone joining us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening.
I wish you all a good night.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Sorry, I just need to close with one thing, if anyone's still on here. That the Montreal Centre for Learning Disabilities is a charitable organization. They get government grants and membership to be able to offer these high quality webinars, information and resources. And so if you'd like to become a member, please go to the website. I've just popped the website into the chat there, and you can see what membership benefits can bring you, as well as all the resources that are there. So recordings from these webinars get posted, as well as there's a multitude of other resources out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.